Welcome back, and we are having a conversation about opportunities for businesses in Suriname, and I'm having this conversation with Ambassador Fidelia Galon, a non-resident ambassador to Kenya in South Africa. And before we get into the business aspect, what is the diplomatic relations between Africa and Suriname?
Well, the diplomatic relation is growing, as we say. So because it's firstly, we had our embassy in South Africa for about 17 years. And then the embassy was moved in to Ghana, Accra, Ghana. And now I think I'm the first one that is accredited to Kenya. And South Africa, we were there, and I'm based in Ghana.
Yes.
So it is growing, but it's not enough. We want to see more of Africa dealing with us, especially the African descendants of Suriname. They still call themselves Kankang Afrikaan, meaning pure African.
Wow.
That is how they refer to themselves. And they live in places where they do the traditional African agri-system, shifting cultivation. That is what they do. So you don't stay at one place. You do your farm this year here, and next year you go to another place. So they extend their estate.
Yes.
And because they lived in freedom for many, many years, it belongs to the tribal community. So the other thing that we have the indigenous peoples. So those who were there, the natives, they too are there with different ethnic tribes, so they are not one, so they have different languages too. And they are there for investment purposes, whatever you want to do in tourism, because they are the tourist destinations for the European, the Western people, Americans, even scientists are coming there to do their job. So we are looking for Africa to come diplomatically. This is one of my assignments, cultural exchange, tourism, entrepreneurship.
Yeah, speaking of that, you know, Kenyans are investors now. Let's get into it. What are the opportunities in Suriname?
Well, you know, when you hear about Kenya lately, you hear Kenya leadership talk about carbon emission, you know, that is what the world should go for, to live green as much as you can. They can invest in Suriname in that field. So there is a possibility there. And we recently are becoming one of the oil producing countries in the Caribbean, apart from Trinidad and Tobago, Venezuela, and Guyana, English-speaking Guyana in South America. We border to them, Suriname. And what happens, we had recently in May, we had investors conference, oil and gas, and then local content. So, and you know, local content is for the people of the country. There are a lot of possibilities there for investment, even your tourist products and so. And ours, we can exchange, you know, in clothing and in music. So there's a lot of, sometimes people don't see it like investment, but you see culture, it is music, it is dancing, it is food. And if you look at the Western world, everybody has a KFC place in every country in the world is American investment. So what do you do with the African food industry to invest it? I see you don't have something that we have from the West African countries. It's called gari. We have it, we call it kwaka. And I'm telling people we do the best.
If you say Gary here, it translates to something different. That is aka. Gary.
What?
Yes, Gary. Yeah, that is Swahili for a car.
A car?
Yes, car. Yeah.
Wow. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Language is interesting. So we want to, and even in health programs, because the people in the hinterland of Suriname, they are far away from the coastline. So like if you go to one of the, well, let me say I belong to one of the tribal communities in the east of Suriname.
Yes.
And the region my people came from after they freed themselves. To go there, you have to go over rapids, mountains, waterfalls.
Wow.
And it takes you, nowadays, because of the outboard motor, it takes you like about 3 days to reach the palace of the paramount chief
Wow.
of that place. That's how far they are. And they are tourist attraction. So you can, and even agriculture, we need agri-investment. And so if Kenyans are investors, we invite you to come and invest in agriculture. There is a lot of land in Suriname. We are the greenest in South America. We are in the Amazon zone of Brazil. We have only 7% of the landscape is inhabited. So 93% is forest.
Pristine.
Yes, pristine.
So, speaking about agriculture, are there incentives that can attract foreign direct investment in that sector?
Well, the Ministry of Agriculture and Husbandry, there are incentives for land, you know, and you can team up with other companies, agri-companies in Suriname. They make it easier for you. So when you team up with another company, you can have the access as the local companies have. And I believe that is a great incentive, because most likely you need to belong to the country to have access to all the incentives that are there for them. We have a lot of Chinese companies in our country as we speak. There are mining opportunities.
Actually,
we
I
have
wanted
a
to
lot
ask
of
what about mining, because
we have a lot of gold,
yes,
bauxite, everything, because we belong to the green belt of West Africa. So diamond is there, everything you can think of.
And you are one of the top producers of bauxite in there.
Bauxite, because our bauxite was the one they used to win the Second World War. That is one professor of America came to my country. I was working in the Ministry of Planning, and he told us, don't you know that you, Suriname, conquered for the rest of the world the war that was killing everybody, the Second World War, because the bauxite out of the little town I was born called Mungo or Mongo, that's the bauxite they used to make the airplanes that won the Second World War. That is Suriname, and still people don't know us. But we contribute, but I know why, because we speak Dutch, that's the official language. And the lingua franca, like you have the Swahili, is the language that the African created. We call it Sranantongo. It's mixed with English and African words. Like one African word that we use in that language, when you're fearless, they say you're Jaja. So if I'm a Jaja woman, meaning I'm fearless. And I hear it comes from the Nigerian culture. The Yoruba, it was a king that was very fearless. They know the place he came from. And we use that, it's the same meaning. So there are a lot of words that we still have. So be Jaja and come and invest in Suriname.
From what you're saying is like, Suriname is the meeting point, or better put, a melting pot of culture that incorporates all parts of the world.
Yes, and they speak all their languages. So the Indians, they still speak Hindi. So if you want to tell my president, I love you, you just say, Hum tuke chaila.
Wow.
So we have the roti, the food, the chutney, and the music is still pure. And if you want the Chinese food, they are very popular there. With chow mein is one of the most popular one. We have big restaurant, Korean restaurant, Japanese restaurant, but we now have Nigerian restaurants. Fufu. It's indigenous to the Africans living in Suriname because I love it the most. We do it the same like they do it in
same way they do it
same
in
way, the pot and turning it around and so.
Wow. Let's talk about manufacturing. What types of manufacturing enterprises exist within Suriname, and what opportunities are there in that aspect?
Well, we have companies that are manufacturing. We used to do the manufacturing of the aluminum products, but it went down since Alcoa left Suriname. What we do manufacture, we are more in the craft industry, where we have a lot of products that we produce there, especially agri products. We have like how do you call it? The Dutch is coming up. Meal. Meal is more like the things you can make bread with and so on. That's what I call meal. So I have it in my mind, it will come. But I have to translate from Dutch to English. And the Dutch name comes. So we have those companies that are producing more in the sector of the, how do you call it again? We make a lot of products exporting to the European countries. So like the Netherlands, and so we have agri products. We have a lot of timber products, like if you want wood to build a house, we do a lot of that in Suriname. But we need more investors or we have those we are producing gold products, mostly owned by the Chinese community. So there is a lot of possibilities in whatever manufacturing sector you want to be. Suriname is open.
Well, we are talking about all these investments, but how is taxation in Suriname?
You mean VAT?
Yes.
It is the same like everywhere, and sometimes the people are crying.
Because even when people want to invest, the aspect of taxation
plays a big role. I believe the governments diplomatically, when you want someone come and invest in your country, there are some things that you have to adapt to make sure that people feel safe and that they can make their money both for your country and the country they come from. Most likely, not the country, but the people of their country, because we need to be people focused, and especially the young people.
Talk about, Suriname was ranked as among 190 countries with ease of doing business with. It was ranked at 162 in 19 from 165 in 2018. According to you, what occasioned this ranking?
Well, I believe it's the oil industry that made us come a little bit better, but we can do better, and we will do better in the future.
Yes. How would you say, so far, the diplomatic relations, how have they impacted trade between African countries and Suriname?
Well, African countries and Suriname trade is not that promising. Why? Suriname is only 6 hours away by air from Africa, West Africa, Ghana. And but there is no transport by air or by sea with the Caribbean. So for trade, you need to set that straight and make it happen. So I would call on the African countries, companies that want to promote business between Africa and Suriname. We need transportation direct to Suriname. As for now, it does not exist. So I believe that is one of the reasons as well, because all transport system is focused on the United States of America and Europe, which is good. They know us, we know them, and even China is coming down, India is coming down. And the distance between Asia and the Caribbean is way far away. So I'm asking myself, why does Africa, so the trade towards us as Kenyans are investors, we can start with airfare transportation for goods and services, maybe for the transportation for people to come. Maybe you might look at the Caribbean, they say, oh, the population is too small, it's not profitable for airlines. But I think, how come it is profitable for the European companies and the American companies and not for the African companies
So
to do business and trade? So because during the transatlantic slave trade, the transportation was direct to the Caribbean. After, no more. So can't we make a move towards the transportation for trade and everything, even tourism? Because people, we did not know much about Africa in the history. The only thing we knew is that they sold us for mirrors, combs, and stuff like that. So what you think is like, oh my God, I don't want to be there because they don't want me, they left me alone, and so. And they even don't come because they have accredited ambassadors to Caribbean countries. It's just, I believe, only 3 countries have embassies, like Jamaica have some African embassies, and I know for sure Trinidad and Tobago. But Suriname, for Suriname, are only accredited ambassadors.
Yes. So from what you said, what is the possibility or the importance of having trade investment or partnership agreements with African countries, and how is that going to impact investments within Suriname?
Well, you see, African products, like in the industry of clothing and fashion, it affects Suriname a lot. Because this industry in Africa of the fabrics that they create and so on and so on, we got them from China and from Europe. African print. And sometimes you think, hey, it comes from Africa straight. But then later on you learn, oh, this has been produced in China, but it's African print. And we love it. And it thrives in Suriname because you want to have the African print to feel one in all the Caribbean nations, I can say, that we love the print and the fashion of Africa. So that is one part of the industry. It looks small, but it's every day we put on something.
So there is a lot of potential in that aspect, especially when it comes to fashion.
There. Fashion. Yes.
Wow.
It's there. It's as the film industry. We know a lot of African movie stars, Nollywood.
Yes.
It is like Suriname, all the villages, all the movies is the life of the tribal community of Suriname. No difference. So when you see them, you know them. And you say, oh, it's like the chief in my village. It's like when I come to town, everybody is laughing at me, and then I become something, and then I go back to the village, and so that is an industry that we need to invest in as well, that we can work together, learn from one another. So most likely we look at the industry like the minerals and stuff like that, but a soft one is very important to the people of African descent in the Americas, especially Suriname.
How is the film industry within Suriname, away from the African or the Hollywood? How is the film industry there?
Well, film industry is still on a very small. We don't have a Nollywood or a Suriwood. You know, young men and women, they do something. They do filming. We had one in 1975, one people. That was, we thought it was grow bigger, but it is one people. And so there's a lot to do there. If Kenya can come,
yes,
you are welcome.
Yeah, and there are scenic places where films can be filmed. Talk about, are there sector-specific restrictions in as far as owning business as a foreigner is concerned?
No, that's what I said before. You can partner with a business community in Suriname, and that's it. It's easing up. Doing business in Suriname, it seems like you have to go to the paperwork and so on, but they are working on easing it up for investors to come.
Yes.
And that is what we had in the oil and gas, local content, business conference for a whole week. That is last May. But there were some African countries there, but Kenya was not one of them.
I hope after that you
I
start,
hope next time
yes,
they'll come.
be there.
We
Because,
want you there.
Yeah, Kenyans are explorers, investors, and
especially, you see, your word.
Yes.
I didn't know it was yours, Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata,
I
yes.
thought it was American
No,
and from
that is...
the, how do you call, Walt Disney. You know,
yeah.
this. So I knew Hakuna Matata. It's only when I came here, I hear, hey, and we love it. And the Maasai community,
yes.
I went there. I didn't know it was Kenya.
Wow.
I knew it was Africa. I see they were tall and they are walking all over in a big landscape.
Yes.
But coming here, you learn what Kenya offered to the rest of the world.
You have to agree, based on what you've said, you have to agree that there is a lot of what I would call a symbiotic exchange between the two countries.
Yes.
In terms of culture and business opportunities.
Business opportunity. That's why they accredited me to come to Kenya.
Yes.
For us to be visible finally.
Yes.
So when you Google Suriname, you will see it.
Yes.
When Maya came there, he went to only one of the tribes and expo, but there are much, much more of Africa out there.
There's much more to
similarities, and so things we can do together, especially on the green energy side, programs, and investment in fintech. Fintech is there and you are there, but
it's coming
fintech,
up.
you know, I spoke about it because I went to a fintech conference in Ghana, and I was, wow, you know, what you can do in doing business with just the mobile money system. It's easy and it is transparent, and they are working with the central banks of the countries, meaning you are not hiding anything. You can earn your money as you invest. You know, in goods, tangible goods, and you get your money at a very fast, and open, transparent way.
Meaning that there are more opportunities in fintech in Suriname because it's coming up.
It's coming up, but we need to. I spoke with someone of the central bank when I went there, and he says the law is in the making for fintechs. So your knowledge, because if you don't know something, you're not very eager to say, okay, come here. But we need to learn more. And I know the benefits of fintech, mobile money, since I came to Africa. But there are more of us that want to know more, and they want to know opportunities, but more of it is investment opportunities. So they can have, I will give you my business card, and so that it can be exposed. So the embassy is there via email. You can reach us, and when you reach us, we will share the sites. We have one called Sita .sr that is for you to get some information about Suriname.
All right. Now, as we close this conversation, why should Kenyans invest or visit Suriname?
No, it's to take their rightful place as an African nation, to give leadership to their diaspora. So the diaspora of Africa is waiting and looking for Africans to come and invest. So Kenya, please, business people, in fashion, because I got some Maasai beads. I love the beads. You can start small and go big, and you can train people also. Education is an investment avenue too, and health is an investment avenue as well. Universities, let us work together. We have one Surinamese university and other universities from the Western world that have some, they establish themselves in Suriname as well. Suriname is easy. We speak Dutch, but English, you can communicate with us in English, right? So please do come. There are avenues, they are open. You know, it's a pristine. We don't want you to take our carbon champion, champion in there. But let us work with it and make something to make the world a better place. And I know Africa can do a lot to make the world a better place.
Thank you so much for making time here on Good Morning Kenya and talking to us about the opportunities in Suriname. That is Ambassador Fidelia Grant Gallon, who is a resident ambassador of Suriname to Ghana and a non-resident ambassador of Suriname to Kenya and South Africa. This is where we cap this conversation, but don't go too far. Good Morning Kenya continues shortly.